I just did I just took some shrooms and so much. Is that you right now? Because that was me in 2018, like a month and a half after a breakup. And you might be wondering, was it a good idea to take shrooms then? There are a few scenarios where people will tell you not to trip, and one of them is after a breakup. So in this video, I will share my thoughts about tripping after a breakup based on my own experiences and others I know. It's funny the way time works after a breakup, right? Those first 2 hours, days, weeks goes by so slowly. And then a month has passed and you're like, wow, that's a long ass time without this person in my life. So then I'm like, well, it's been a while, maybe I am ready to trip. It's about the same amount of time where I feel ready to have a first date with someone again. But then when I trip after a breakup, the same thing happens to me like when I date after a breakup, and I realize that it's too soon. But here's the thing, sometimes I'll trip a year after a breakup and then I realize that it still feels too soon. So it seems that no matter how much time has passed, that first time I trip after a breakup, those feelings will come rushing back, resurfaced, refreshed, and I'm just transported back to that time and place of the breakup. So yeah, some people say not to trip immediately after a breakup, but I feel like it really depends on you, on the person. You know, each relationship is different, each person is different in how they handle things. So for my last relationship, I waited like a month-ish because that's when I felt like I could tackle whatever came up. For someone else that could be a year, or for someone else it could be a day. So I would not say not to trip immediately after a breakup, but to wait until you're ready, and that if some inner demons come during the trip that you can handle them. But I would say do not have any expectations that this trip will get rid of your heartache, that it will accelerate the healing process, or help you totally get over your ex. I'm not saying that's impossible, like that definitely can happen. Maybe it's happened to you, so that's really nice if that did. But if you do go into a trip thinking that it will happen, there is a chance that you will come out of it disappointed and still heartbroken. The most I think we can hope for from a trip like this is maybe a different perspective on things, maybe a good cry. I believe that the real work, as always, comes from sober integration. So then what does happen when I do trip after a breakup? Well, like you saw, I cry a lot. I miss my ex a lot. I think about them a lot. I hurt a lot. And it's especially hard if you've ever tripped with your ex, because then you're back in this place where you used to go to together and they're not there anymore. So I'm very sentimental, and so for me it's like going back to a restaurant or anywhere really that you used to go to with your ex, and their like essence is just there. So because of that, I make sure that I do not trip alone after a breakup. Even just sober trip sitters is enough. I'm not saying that you can't trip alone, but for me, if I were to trip after a breakup, I would feel like their ghost is just there with me, and so it's useful if I have other people there as a distraction. Also, other people there can help make sure that you do not call or contact your ex, which you may feel very compelled to do while tripping. I'm very pro no contact after breakups. And sometimes it's like a cathartic release and feelings of forgiveness. Sometimes it might be painful as fuck and brings back feelings, and I'd be like, wait, I thought I was already over this, and my progress just goes backwards. But no matter what, going through that first trip after a breakup is a hurdle overcome. It's like the first date after a breakup, or the first Valentine's Day after a breakup, or the first month after a breakup, or hell, even the first day after a breakup. It may not have been easy, but you did it. You got through it, you came out okay, and that's one step forward into moving on. And if you are going through a breakup right now, I just want to say that eventually you will be okay. Like, this was me a few years ago, and now here I am, totally okay and over it. For better or worse, we have to perceive time linearly, and that means no shortcuts, like time traveling to the future where you're okay. But I think that's part of the journey, right? The trip, that we have to go through it. We have to get through it, and even though it may hurt a lot right now, that hurt just means that you were also really happy at one point. So don't try to escape or kill these emotions. It's part of living this strange, confusing, and beautiful life. Okay, bye. Good luck.